Welcome back, Wargamers. If you're heading on into this segment, you must have just watched our battle report, and we're going to kind of discuss some of what happened, things we liked, didn't like, or things we might change. So, what were your thoughts overall?
It was a good game. I really enjoyed it. The biggest takeaway, I made a mistake in turn 2. There were a lot of turns. In turn 2, as opposed to deep striking my Guardian Blob onto Objective 1 to secure it, I moved my Dark Reapers up and then promptly lost them on the next turn. It's probably the biggest error I made in the game. Everything else played about like I wanted it to. I was really impressed when my flyer took an entire army worth of shooting and didn't die.
Yeah, probably about 1,400, 1,350 points or so that thing soaked up. I would have to agree on the Dark Reapers. We discussed in between turns and cutting there that they were kind of your version of Hellblasters, sort of. They're your good catch-all unit, hitting on 3s and just obliterating what you point them at. So I would have to agree, putting them on the objective for the victory point and then losing them was pretty brutal. I think deep striking those Guardians down would have been really good. It also looked like throughout the game you were struggling a bit with command points. They went really fast, and then whereas I kept regenning, or it seemed like I just had a big pool, you didn't get anything back. Like your commander was on the table to help, so I feel like that would have helped you a lot. So there's some turns with bad rolls.
There's some turns with bad rolls. There are a few stratagems I could have used that probably would have helped out a lot, like my Guardians having a 4-up invulnerable save.
Yeah, it would have been brutal.
Or, just another turn of -2 to a flyer. My Wave Serpent wouldn't have been one-rounded by the Hellblasters, but that's what they did.
Yeah, the +1, whatever stratagem it is, the +1 to saves, is that right?
Yeah, well, that's a psychic power.
Okay, psychic power.
Which I don't have.
Okay, but you would have been able to give the Guardians the 4-up.
The 4-up invulnerable shield. Had I had another Psyker that was the Runes of Battle, I could have done a 3-up invulnerable save for them.
Yeah, which would have been absolutely brutal. I definitely think that those Guardians being center of the table, 20 of them with an invulnerable save would have been absolutely stupid. And because you're running Iandin, even if I did mass casualties, your leadership was like, whatever, I failed, I lose a guy, no big deal. And that would have bought some time for those Dark Reapers. I think that was a good pivotal moment because had those Guardians dropped, your what are those things called? Dark Reapers. You want to say Death Reapers. Your Dark Reapers would have moved to your right and probably obliterated my Repulsor, which once they went down, he kind of just went uncontested. He just drove through. Which has been my experience with 40k in this edition. It feels like once you lose one of your really, pivotal units, the game really tilts. Now, ours was pretty back and forth, even though you had very few models. But if I had lost Hellblasters like you lost your Dark Reapers, that would have been brutal. Like I would have had a hard time taking out anything at that point. And I think that's just the way this current edition works. But that's just an observation. So, are there any things that you would try next time? Different units you would bring in?
Most of what you saw today is what I own. That is fully painted. Well, fully painted and based. If I could get other units other than the Scouts on the table, the Rangers on the table for true choices like another Guardian Blob or 2 units of Dire Avengers. I think their guns and their consistency is better because the snipers, while it's nice to be able to hit a character, he never had his characters in range of my weapons anyway.
Yeah, and that's another different thing with 8th edition too, is that all your characters are easily bubble wrapped, so they just sit behind stuff. So when you had the objectives to take out a character, it's really hard to get to them. So at the beginning, we talked about 2 things that we changed. One, the Hellblasters, the natural rollable one. Do you think that was too overpowered, or do you think that's just a practical change for the whole universe?
I could see arguments either way. I enjoy the, if I was running, I'll take, you'd be at -3 to hit my flyer, which means even on 4s, you're rolling essentially a 1.
Yeah.
And that would have killed a lot of your Hellblasters. That would have been nice for me. Not much fun for you. I didn't feel that it was overpowered. You're going to get people to say differently.
Yeah, agreed. I still did lose some to the 1s. One of the things that has always been my counter-argument for anyone who says, it should be the negatives and it makes them blow up. The negatives make them blow up, but the way the negatives work, I don't get to re-roll those fails. So it's like, if I get -3 and I'm blowing up my gun in my hands on 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s, I only get to re-roll the 1s and 2s because the 3s and 4s would technically be hits, but now they're 1s, it seems kind of odd. So in addition to doing the change with the natural roll of 1 for the Hellblasters, what were your thoughts on using the bottom levels as considered blind sight blocking ITC format?
I enjoyed it mainly because I could hide it from a turn 1. Because turn 1, had that not been a rule, my my Dark Reapers are off the table.
Yeah, Hellblasters would have murdered.
My Wave Serpents, if they're on the table, would be gone. My my Fire Prism is off the table. I think that was a huge change in this game, which allowed me to actually survive turn 1. And then after turn 1, it got away a few times, but it really wasn't a big thing.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a huge deal.
I think the big thing with that is that it ensures that turn 1, it limits how effective a turn 1 a debilitating blow can be, which, like you said, you would have lost some really key units. Definitely the Dark Reapers or maybe the Fire Prism would have been gone. And with the way that the cover works, in this edition, you have to be in it. It doesn't matter if you're physically obscured outside of it. So if those bottom levels weren't considered blind sight blocking like we did, your Dark Reapers are behind it, they get no bonus to armor. They move a half inch forward into the building where there's no wall between us and I can see you. They're in the footprint, so now they get a cover save. That seems silly. So I really do like the bottom floor being blocked off. I think that's a good ITC change. And I'm not a huge competitive player, but I think that's just good for the state of the game. One of the other things I think I would like to try if we play again, or there's another battle report with a different player, I really like the idea of tinkering with and trying some house rules with bringing back the old cover rules, where if you're 50% obscured or firing through terrain, you would get the benefit. Now in this edition that would be the +1, but it's so easy to maybe get covered by being in it, and then like there were instances where you shot my repulsor, which is fine, it didn't die, but there's a little tiny sliver that you could see gets no benefit, but if it's somehow physically in the cover, it gets it. It doesn't make sense. And then I also don't like that, I could move my repulsor or any vehicle a little bit past the corner of a building and shoot you at full force when you can just see part of the tread. I don't like that much, but I do think that'll be interesting to tinker with the house rules. So, and I think that's what you guys do at Kid Kringle, I think. Which is our shop down
I'd
there.
have to double check, because I so rarely play down there.
Yeah. So, the first battle report that I filmed that went really bad. It's like the Primarchs, the 2 missing Primarchs 40k. You'll never see it. It was just terrible. But the guy I played with is a mutual friend of Bob and myself, and I believe he told me that Kid Kringle does a house rule like that with cover, and it's done really well for them and helped out. When he told me about it, I thought initially it was going to make vehicles really overpowered, but the same stuff that you're going to blast vehicles with has probably got really high AP weapons anyway, so the cover just kind of helps, but not a huge amount. So, but with that being said, folks, if you watched that video and this one you enjoyed it, make sure you like and subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications. If you have watched the other one and have not commented, let us know if you did see something that was amiss. I'm not infallible, and I play 40k so infrequently, I probably screwed up a lot of the rules. Let us know. It will help us get better and not make the same mistakes. Same thing with the basic rules and codex rules. Let us know. If there's something that you would like to see differently on the table or the gameplay format, also let us know. I think maybe in our game the terrain seemed dense, but I feel like our deployment zones were a little sparse, so there were some areas that would have been nice to have some area terrain, so maybe we could try that next time. I think that would be good. But with that being said, I think we're going to sign off. Hopefully we'll be getting into a rhythm of doing these battle reports more frequently, and you guys will get to tune in. So thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.